Have you ever experienced a moment where reality seems to stutter? A moment where the rigid, mechanical laws of probability crumble before your eyes, and a meaningful coincidence strikes you with the force of a lightning bolt. Perhaps you were humming an obscure song in the silence of your mind, a melody you had not heard in 20 years, only to turn on the radio and hear that exact melody playing from the very first note. Or maybe, in a moment of deep despair, standing at the crossroads of a life-changing decision, you asked the silent universe for a sign, and a stranger passed by wearing a shirt with the precise answer written on it in bold letters. Most of the world dismisses these events as mere chance. They call it random noise in a chaotic system. They tell you it is just a statistical anomaly. But deep down, in the quiet, ancient chambers of your intuition, you felt something else. You felt a shiver down your spine, a whisper from the void telling you that this was no accident. This was a message. This was the universe looking directly at you and winking. Welcome, seeker of truth, to the labyrinth of synchronicity. Today, we are not just talking about happy coincidences or lucky breaks. We are diving into one of the most profound and mysterious phenomena of human existence. A phenomenon that bridges the gap between the mysticism of the East and the hard science of the West. A concept so disturbing yet so beautiful that it brought together the greatest psychologist of the 20th century, Carl Jung, and one of the fathers of quantum mechanics, Wolfgang Pauli, to try and map the unseen territory of the soul. We are going to explore the terrifying and liberating possibility that the universe is not a cold, dead, mechanical clockwork, but a living, breathing web of meaning. We will ask the dangerous question: is there an unseen force guiding our destiny? Is the universe speaking to you right now? And if so, are you fluent in its language? Prepare yourself. We are about to pull the thread that unravels the fabric of accepted reality. We will explore the mechanism of these signs, the science of the observer, and the ancient esoteric wisdom that explains how the inner world of your mind and the outer world of matter are mirrored reflections of the same truth. By the end of this journey, you will never look at a coincidence the same way again. To understand the nature of these unseen forces, we must go back to the moment the term synchronicity was birthed into the modern world. The story begins not in a mystic temple in the Himalayas, but in a sterile therapy room in Zurich, Switzerland. Carl Gustav Jung, the father of analytical psychology, was treating a patient who was notoriously difficult. She was a woman of high intelligence, rational, strictly logical, and completely closed off to anything irrational or mystical. Her mind was a fortress of Cartesian logic. She knew everything, understood everything, and because of this, she was incurable. Her therapy had hit a dead end because her rational mind acted as a shield, deflecting any attempt to reach her deeper, unconscious self. She had rationalized her own soul into silence. Jung knew that for her to heal, something needed to shatter her rational worldview. She needed a shock to the system, a crack in the armor where the light could get in. One day, she was sitting in Jung's office, recounting a dream she had the night before. In the dream, she was given a piece of jewelry, a golden scarab beetle. In Egyptian mythology, the scarab is a symbol of rebirth, of the rising sun, of the eternal soul. As she was describing the beetle to Jung with cold, clinical precision, a gentle, rhythmic tapping sound came from the window behind him. Jung turned around. There, tapping against the glass, trying to get into the dark room from the bright world outside, was a large flying insect. Jung opened the window and caught the creature in his hand. It was a rose chafer beetle, Cetonia aurata, a beetle with a golden-green color that closely resembles the golden scarab of Egyptian mythology. It was the closest thing to a golden scarab that could be found in that latitude, and it had appeared at the exact millisecond she was describing it. Jung turned to the woman, held out his open palm with the living, buzzing beetle, and said, "Here is your scarab." At that moment, the woman's rational fortress collapsed. The improbability of the event, the perfect timing, the symbolic resonance. It was too much for her logic to explain. She was stunned into silence. The intellectual resistance broke, and her transformation began. This event is the quintessential example of synchronicity. Jung defined it as an acausal, connecting principle. Let us break that down, because it is the key to unlocking the master code of your life. In our ordinary lives, we live by the law of causality, cause and effect. You kick a ball, and it moves. That is the cause. The movement is the effect. You drop a glass, and it breaks. Events are connected by a chain of physical interactions. One thing bumps into another. This is how we build bridges, computers, and rockets. But synchronicity proposes a different kind of connection. A connection not based on physical cause, but on meaning. The beetle did not fly into the window because she was dreaming about it. Her dream did not physically magnetize the beetle with invisible rays. There was no string pulling it. Yet, the two events, the inner psychic state, which was the dream, and the outer physical event, which was the beetle, occurred simultaneously and carried the identical meaning of rebirth. Jung realized that the psyche and matter are not two separate things. They are two sides of the same coin. When the tension in the psyche becomes strong enough, when the emotion is intense enough, it seems to spill over into the physical world. The barrier between here and out there dissolves. This challenges the very foundation of how we are taught to see the world. We are taught that we are isolated observers inside a skull, looking out at a separate, dead world. Synchronicity suggests that we are immersed in a psychophysical reality, what the ancients called the unus mundus, or one world, where mind and matter are interwoven like the threads of a tapestry. Think of it like a dream. When you are dreaming at night, if you feel fear, a monster might appear in the dreamscape. The monster is a reflection of your fear. You do not ask, how did my fear causally create the monster? You know that in a dream, the environment is you. Synchronicity suggests that waking life is also a dream, just a denser, slower, more stubborn dream. When your inner state shifts, the outer reality eventually shifts to match it. But if this is true, why does it not happen all the time? Why can we not manifest beetles or winning lottery tickets at will? The answer lies in the emotional intensity and the depth of the unconscious. Synchronicity usually appears at critical junctures in our lives. Deaths, births, intense crises, falling in love, or moments of deep spiritual awakening. It appears when the walls of the ego are thin and the archetypes of the collective unconscious are active. It is the universe's way of saying, pay attention. You are on a path. The story is moving. It is easy to dismiss these ideas as mere mysticism, but as we mentioned, Jung did not work alone. He collaborated with Wolfgang Pauli, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist and one of the pioneers of quantum mechanics. Pauli was known for the Pauli exclusion principle, a fundamental law of nature. He was a man of hard science, a man of numbers and rigor. Yet, he was deeply troubled by the implications of quantum physics. Pauli saw that at the subatomic level, the observer could not be separated from the observed. The electron does not have a definite position until it is measured. The act of observation collapses the wave function into a particle. Pauli suspected that the same principle applying to atoms might apply to reality as a whole. He believed that the breakdown of the radioactive nucleus and the phenomenon of synchronicity might be related. Both are causal. They happen spontaneously, without a direct physical push. Together, Jung and Pauli developed the idea that at a deep, fundamental level of reality, the distinction between mind and matter vanishes. They called this the unus mundus. Imagine an iceberg floating in the ocean. The tip of the iceberg is divided into two peaks, sticking out of the water. One peak is mind. The other peak is matter. From the surface, they look like two separate islands. But if you dive deep beneath the surface of the water, you see they are part of the same mountain. That mountain is the unus mundus. When a synchronicity happens, it is a signal from that deep level. It is a moment where the water level drops, and we see the connection between the two peaks. Modern science offers us a powerful metaphor for this in the concept of quantum entanglement. If two particles interact and are then separated by the entire width of the universe, they remain connected. If you change the spin of one particle, the other responds instantly, faster than the speed of light. Albert Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. This proves that separation is an illusion. At the fundamental level, everything is connected to everything else. If the atoms in your brain and the atoms in the stars were once connected in the Big Bang, which they were, then on a quantum level, you are entangled with the cosmos. David Bohm, another giant of physics, proposed the theory of the implicate order. He suggested that what we see, the physical world, is the explicate order, the unfolded reality. But underneath it lies the implicate order, an enfolded reality where everything is one. Synchronicity, then, is a glimpse into the implicate order. It is a moment where the hidden variables of the universe align. It is not magic. It is the physics of meaning. This suggests that meaning is not something humans invented. Meaning is a fundamental force of the universe. Just like gravity or electromagnetism. Think about the implications of this. If meaning is fundamental, then your life is not a random accident. Your struggles, your pains, your joys, they are part of a coherent narrative. The universe is not a machine generating random events. It is a consciousness generating a story, and you are both the character and the CEO author of this story. If the universe is speaking, what language does it use? It does not use English or Spanish or Sanskrit. It speaks in the language of symbols. In ancient traditions, this was known as the language of the birds. The alchemists and hermeticists understood this well, as we explored in the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. This is the Hermetic explanation for synchronicity. The external world is a mirror of your internal world. But reading this mirror requires a shift in perception. We are trained to look at things literally. A bird is just a bird. A number is just a quantity. But to the initiate, a bird crossing your path at a specific moment is a symbol. Seeing the number 1111 repeatedly is a frequency, a code, a wake-up call. Let us look at how to interpret these signs without falling into madness. First, we must understand that symbols are personal. A black cat crossing the path might mean bad luck in folklore. But if you grew up loving a black cat, for you, it is a symbol of comfort and protection. The universe speaks to you through your database of symbols. There are 3 main types of synchronicities you might encounter on your path. The first is the mirror. These are events that reflect your current state. If you are full of chaotic, angry thoughts, you might find yourself stuck in traffic, dropping your coffee, and encountering rude people. The universe is showing you your own vibration. This is the universe saying, look at what you are emitting. It is immediate feedback. The second is the guide. These occur when you are at a crossroads. You are undecided about a job offer. You turn on the TV and a character says, take the leap. You open a book at random and the chapter is titled New Beginnings. These are nudges. They are the voice of the daemon or the higher self, guiding you toward your destiny. The third is the sentinel. These are the most dramatic. You plan to go on a trip, but your car will not start. You lose your keys, and you feel a heavy dread. Later you find out there was a massive accident on the route you intended to take. These are the protective synchronicities, often defying all probability to stop you from a path that is not yours. But how do we distinguish a true sign from mere confirmation bias? This is the trap of apophenia, the tendency to perceive meaningful connections between unrelated things. The key is the emotional charge and the improbability. A true synchronicity feels numinous. It carries a sense of holiness or strangeness. It stops your mind. If you have to force the connection, if you have to stretch logic to make it fit, it is likely your ego trying to control reality. But if the connection hits you in the gut, if it brings tears to your eyes or a sudden clarity, pay attention. The Hermeticists believed that by engaging with these symbols, we strengthen the bridge between the ego and the divine. When you acknowledge a sign, you are telling the universe, I am listening. And like any conversation, once you start listening, the other party starts talking more. This brings us to the ultimate question that has plagued philosophers for millennia. If there are signs guiding us, does that mean our destiny is fixed? Are we just puppets playing out a script written by the stars? The paradox of destiny and free will is resolved through synchronicity. Imagine life as a vast, powerful ocean. Destiny is the current. It is the general direction in which the water flows. It is determined by the gravitational pull of your soul's purpose, your karma, and the lessons you are here to learn. Free will is how you swim. You can swim against the current, exhausting yourself, fighting every inch of the way, or you can swim with it, using the current to travel faster and farther than you could alone. Synchronicity is the map of the currents. When you ignore synchronicities, you are often swimming against the flow. Life feels hard, blocked, full of friction. Doors slam in your face. Projects fail. This is the universe telling you, not this way. It is the friction of misalignment. When you follow synchronicities, you enter the state of flow. In Taoism, this is called Wu Wei, effortless action. You are in the right place at the right time. You meet the right people. Opportunities seemingly fall into your lap. You are not forcing life. You are allowing life to happen through you. This does not mean life becomes easy or without challenge. The current might take you through a storm because that storm is necessary for your growth. But even in the storm, there will be signs. A flash of lightning illuminating the path, a piece of driftwood to hold on to, a sudden calm in the eye of the hurricane. The ancient Greeks believed in the daemon, a guiding spirit that accompanies each soul before birth. Plato wrote in the myth of Aer that our soul chooses its life pattern before we are born, and the daemon is the carrier of that destiny. The daemon does not force us. It whispers to us. It arranges encounters. Synchronicity is the footprint of the daemon. By following these footprints, we align with our true will, as Aleister Crowley would call it. The true will is not what your ego wants. Your ego wants comfort, fame, and safety. Your true will is what your soul needs to become complete. There is a concept called the golden thread. Imagine that there is a single golden thread weaving through the chaotic tapestry of your days. Most of the time, we are too distracted to see it. We are looking at the knots, the tangles, the loose ends. But if you step back, if you look at the moments of coincidence, the chance meetings, the books that fell off the shelf, you see the thread. You see that nothing was wasted. That heartbreak 5 years ago, it led you to a new city where you met the mentor who changed your career, which led you to watch this video right now. The thread is continuous. It is a lineage of light running through your life. So, how do we tune ourselves to this frequency? How do we become active participants in this dialogue with destiny? You do not need to be a mystic sitting in a cave. You simply need to adjust your internal receiver. The first step is understanding the reticular activating system, or RAS. Biologically, your brain filters out 99% of the sensory information you receive. If it did not, you would be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of reality. The part of the brain responsible for this filtering is the RAS. It shows you what you deem important. If you believe the world is hostile, your RAS will filter for threats. You will see angry faces, danger, and scarcity. If you believe the world is magical and communicating with you, your RAS will filter for signs. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Start your day with a simple intention. Say to yourself, "Today, I am open to guidance. I ask for a sign regarding my path." Then, let it go. Do not look for it. Do not hunt for it like a predator. Just go about your day. By setting the intention, you program the biological hardware of your brain to scan for relevant patterns. The second technique is keeping a journal of coincidences. Keep a small notebook. Every time a synchronicity happens, no matter how small or silly it seems, write it down. Date it. Contextualize it. For example, thinking of my grandmother. Heard her favorite song 5 minutes later. Writing it down does two powerful things. First, it validates the event to your subconscious, encouraging more of them. It tells your mind that this data is valuable. Second, over time, you can read back and see patterns you missed in the moment. You will begin to see the golden thread weaving through months and years. The third technique involves increasing entropy or breaking the routine. Synchronicity thrives on novelty. If you do the exact same thing every day, take the same route, eat the same food, talk to the same people, and think the same thoughts, you are trapping yourself in a loop of mechanical causality. You are making yourself predictable to the matrix. To invite the new, you must break the pattern. Take a different route to work. Talk to a stranger. Read a book on a topic you know nothing about. Wander aimlessly. The French situationists called this the derive, or drifting. By stepping into the unknown, you create space for the universe to enter. You cannot encounter the unexpected if you have planned every second of your existence. And finally, learn to interpret via intuition, not logic. When a sign appears, do not rush to search online for generic meanings. Do not ask what a blue butterfly means to the general public. Ask yourself, how did I feel when I saw it? What was I thinking about at that exact second? The meaning is found in the intersection of the thought and the event. Your intuition knows the language of your soul better than any external source. We live in a time of great noise. We are bombarded by algorithms that try to predict our behavior, direct our destiny, and keep us asleep in a cycle of consumption. They want us to believe that we are merely biological machines in a dead, random universe. They want to sever our connection to the unseen. But you know deep in your bones that this is not true. Synchronicity is the cracks in the prison wall. It is the light shining through the gaps of the matrix, reminding you that there is more. It is the universe winking at you, inviting you to play, to dance, to remember who you really are. You are not an isolated speck of dust floating in a void. You are a focal point of the infinite consciousness. You are the universe experiencing itself. And when you realize this, the universe begins to respond. The static clears. The music begins. As you walk forward from this moment, pay attention. The next song you hear, the next number you see on a license plate, the next chance encounter with a stranger. It might just be the key you have been waiting for. The forces are unseen, but they are not absent. They are guiding you home. The question is, are you watching? If this journey into the mystery resonated with you, share your own stories of synchronicity in the comments. Let us weave our threads together. Subscribe to the archive, for there are many more doors to open. Thank you for watching.